Peace and welcome to the culture right here on the Black Star Network. I'm your host, Farajii Muhammad. Folks, we got a great show for you. First, let's talk about transparency as President Biden and First Lady Jill Biden put out the latest information about their personal financial records. And it just opens up the conversation about why it's important for the president to be transparent. We'll have that conversation. Also, let's talk a little bit about what's happening at 30,000 feet. Praising Jesus at 30,000 feet. Representative Ilhan Omar says, what that would have happened if there were Muslims on a plane speaking and praying the way that we're going to show you this video of Christians doing it. The double standard, hypocrisy, we'll get into that discussion. Also, folks, we're going to talk about why making friends as an adult is so hard. I'm going to share with you some of the latest data about why people are still in a space of social isolation. And then later, we're going to talk about HBO's new show, We Own the Night. And we're going to be checking in with author D. Watkins to give you the latest about why cops in Baltimore are being shown in a very, very negative way. We'll have that conversation. And of course, I got trends posting doing the most. So stay with us. That's happening on today's edition of The Culture right here on the Black Star Network. Are you ready? I'm ready. So let's go. Folks, welcome to the show. I hope that you enjoyed and had a very safe and joyous and prosperous weekend. It still seems like the weekend for some folks. Most people probably will start going back to school and to work tomorrow. But today, we appreciate all of you for checking in and being a part of the conversation. We got some great discussions we want to get to, we want to share and have with you. So let's jump right into it. All right, first and foremost, let's talk a little bit about President Biden and how the president and his wife, First Lady Jill Biden, has officially released their financial statements for, as today is tax day in America. And so it was reported, folks, take a look at this. I want you to show just where the president stands on his financials. So $610,000 that the president has to account for in terms of his income, which, let me just say this, that's not a lot of money, folks. If you think about it, it's not a lot of money for the president of the United States. And I just wonder, how much some of these senators and Congress people are making, because I know they got a whole bunch of stuff going on. But yes, the president it has officially been shown that the president has paid taxes on $610,710 in 2021, paid nearly 25% in federal taxes, according to his returns. I want to share with you very quickly, Keen, let's put this one up, just how the numbers break down. Then we're going to check in with our culture crew, Lise Winnie, and my new culture crew member, Jules P. But take a look at this, folks. President Joe Biden and First Lady Biden paid $150,000, $439 in federal income taxes last year after earning $610,702, according to their joint tax return the White House released Friday ahead of today's filing date. Now, this was all reported yesterday. That's an effective federal tax rate of 24.6%. The president's salary is $400,000. So just a little bit of a civics note. The president is making only $400,000. But President Biden reported earning $378,333 because he didn't take office until January the 20th of 2021. All right, let me just continue to share this with you about First Lady Biden. First Lady Jill Biden, she reported earning, folks, do you know this? I did not know this. I did not know this at all. $67,000 from teaching at Northern Virginia Community College. This is the job that she loves to do. And even as first lady, the first lady does not get paid. So that's an unpaid position. But even with the job that she loves to do, it's not a lot of money. In addition to their federal taxes, the Bidens also pay $30,765 in income tax to Delaware, where they maintain a home. And then First Lady Biden paid $2,721 in income tax to Virginia. They also reported $53,000 in pensions and annuities. They had $46,000 in Social Security benefits. They've reported receiving $62,000 from two S corps that they started and created at the end of the Obama-Biden administration for their respective speaking and writing engagements. And they also have given a combined $17,394 to 10 charities. The largest gift was a $5,000 donation to the Beau Biden Foundation. And that's, of course, named after President Biden's son, to ensure that children are free from abuse. They also donated $2,200 to St. Joseph on the Brandywine, which is the Catholic church that they regularly attend in Wilmington, Delaware. Wow. They've been doing this every year. And just for you to know, releasing the president's tax returns is a tradition, but it was broken. I guess y'all won't know who broke the tradition. Who broke the tradition? President Donald Trump. He never showed his tax returns. Wow. So I want to bring in my culture crew to get the latest of what they're thinking about this level of transparency. We're going to check in with Lise Winnie, who serves as the host of the Millennials Anonymous podcast that can be heard on all streaming platforms. And our new voice, a young brother, dynamic brother that has something to say. He is a hip-hop artist and activist, brother, Mr. Jules P. Lise, Jules, thank you so much for joining me this afternoon. How are you both?
I'm doing well. Thank you for having me.
Good.
What's going on?
What's going on? All right, so let me start this off with you, Lise, because I wanted to at least have this conversation because, one, today is tax day. Two, I thought to myself, this is pretty, for something like as crazy as this might sound, I'm like, okay, I like this. I like this level of transparency. I like the fact that the president, even though the job itself is way more than $400,000, but the fact is the president is not making like a goo-gobs amount of money. You know what I mean? And you're just like, wait a minute. Is he just the president, or is he running a Fortune 500 company here? So, there are some things that are like, that fits for me, Lise, on how this president is handling his money. And I'm just like, okay, this is good to know. I think the American people should know. What's your take on this?
Of course, it's good that you have a president of the United States who is willing to give his financial information, because now we know where his allegiance lie, as opposed to the past 4 years where we weren't really sure or the past administration, we weren't really sure if he was benefiting off of being in his position at the White House as president. I like it because, again, last year when they released it, there's no, financial experts looked at it. It's nothing glaring where you're concerned. Now, that's a lot of money for the average American family. Most American families are not making that amount. But again, like you said, he is the president of the United States, which is a really, really hard job to do. Now, I will also say that this will be interesting to see in 2023, because the budget proposal, it's supposed to be a tax hike, and how this will impact the vice president in her family, who actually made more money than President Joe Biden and his family. So it should be interesting to see what happens once they increase the tax rate. And then also whether or not they'll keep he has a cap for state and local taxes or SALT deductions, and whether or not they'll change that or they'll keep that, because they would actually benefit if they repealed it. But as of right now, it looks like they're keeping it. So I'm happy to see that he's, doing what he's supposed to do.
Yeah, I think that, and Jules, I think that's the part about this whole situation. You're like, oh, this is pretty normal that a president releases. Now, let me just let folks know there is no law on the books, folks, that the president is required to share their financial information. There's no law on that. It's just a tradition. It's a tradition. And a lot of times people just see the tradition as a way to bolster the image, right? It keeps this idea that the president of the United States, Jules, is honest and transparent about what's going on. And so I you know, for me, it was like, okay, like I said in the beginning, my opening remarks, I did not know First Lady Biden was only earning $67,000 from a community college from in Northern Virginia. I did not know that. She's been working there a long time too, bro. A long time.
Right. So a couple things. I was looking at it. Like, one, I was in shock like you. I didn't know how much a president made. I also didn't pay attention to the release in taxes because of the last 4 years. You know, since that former president did not release his taxes, I never really paid it no mind until then. That's when it became an issue. So, you know, once that happened, now it's like, okay, now that's something I'm in tune to. Okay, so now what does he make? And I take it back to when the debates were happening between Biden and Trump. There was an incident where, you know, when Trump was going low at Biden, talking about his son and different things. And I just wanted Biden to just say, show me your tax return. Like that kind of would have ended the debate right then and there when he kept on cutting them off and, you know, just like kept going at him. Just show me your tax return. Like that'd have been the intimate, you know, that'd have been the ultimate deal closer. Also for First Lady, I also think that that's a prime example of doing what you love without worrying about how much you get paid for it. I respect that. I respect that because, you know, that being that it was $67,000, that's an excellent thing to see to the American, you know, to America that, you know, as a teacher, this is what I love to do. This is how much I got paid for, and I don't complain. Like I love what I do, and you know, not everybody's in a position to say that, and that actually like was an eye opener for me to see that.
Yeah, and I think you're making a great point. I mean, let's keep it real. Her husband is Joe Biden, Lisa Jules. He's been in Congress for 50 years.
Yeah.
So he been, you know what I'm saying? Like she's eating well. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
I mean, you know, he was in the White House for 8 years. He's back in the White House for another 4 years. So, you know, and I think to your point, Jules, it's like she's been able to do what she loves to do in such a way where she's not tripping about, oh, okay, how the bills and the lights going to stay on. Right. But I think it does speak volumes about, you know, where we see ourselves. Like for us, I still think this is a crazy situation that we find ourselves in, that you have literally, and I know some people say this is apples and oranges. Okay, I'm about to make a fruit salad on this one though, y'all. Athletes make more money than people that have nuclear codes.
Yep.
I'm gonna just, you know what I'm saying? Actors make more money than people who direct policy and governance. Okay. I mean, when you just go down the line to see the disparity, and I don't know, Lise, is that's just simply because we're living in a quote unquote capitalistic society, or is this just a cultural thing? But should we start being a space where we start to push for some level of equity, or some balance? Because it just seems like it's an imbalance that if you're the president of the United States, yes, you get 1,001 different perks, right? I mean, obviously you get the security, you get access to things. So the money is really not a huge deal, but at the same time, it still speaks volumes about where we are in this country, that we haven't even addressed the big elephant in the room of how some of the most important jobs are still being paid the lowest amount of dollars. I just don't understand that.
Yeah, I mean, well, look, I think that shows where our interests are. What's important to us as Americans? That's not important to us. What's important to us is being entertained. I think it's less about capitalism and it's more about where our importance is. So when it comes to not even just the president making $400,000 a year, but when you look at what a lot of these senators make, or even state senators, they make even less. So although there's not a requirement to become a senator, except for, you know, you don't need a college degree and all of that type of stuff, it's still a very, very hard job. So we would get more people in politics if we paid them more. Perhaps maybe we do need to reevaluate how they are compensated and, you know, and what we require from them. And maybe we can get more people into it. Now, we do have to talk about getting money. I know this sounds contradictory, but money out of politics, because at the same time, this is how we get some candidates are able to continue to run to continue to run forever and ever and ever. And you never get new voices and new blood into politics because there's too much money being pushed in politics. But yeah, I think that you're absolutely right. It shows where the importance is in America. And that's, we want to be, are you not entertained? Like the gladiator, that's what we want.
I mean, I see that. And I think that people just don't understand. Like if the president, Jules, if the president was bringing in 1.5 million, right? And this is a constitutional thing. It is by constitution that the president is paid, you know, this limited amount. But if the president was bringing 1.5 million, would you bat an eye at that? Would that be an issue for you?
No. And I'm gonna give you a funny example. Think about this. And I don't have all the fact checks, or like if Twitter, internet wants to fact check me. Okay, so Lil Baby get paid what? $250 for a walkthrough. Lil Durk get paid $150 for a feature. So you mean to tell me the brothers only gotta do 10 features, 4 or 5 walkthroughs, and they make more than the president?
Make more than the president.
Make more than the president. And it's like, that's, you know, I'm not, and I agree with Lise. I also think that, you know, you don't want to keep on raising salaries, because then you're going to have people in positions forever, and then new voices will never get a chance. I mean, there's already a disparity where we don't get a chance to get into politics or make our way into Senate houses or get House seats because of those senators and people that are holding positions that are taking up those positions for a very long time, because they're just living back, fat, wealthy, sitting back, not having to do too much. So it's like, you know, it is a catch-22. It's like there's an imbalance in between the structure. But, you know, I do, looking at it, I don't want to be an advocate to say the president should get paid more, because of course I want more money. But I was shocked to look at that figure to see that, you know, he's not even making $1 million at least. I mean, I get the perks. I mean, I understand you get tons of perks. And then forever after you become president, you get paid off a speaking engagement, 60, 70, 100,000 every time you speak, or just, you know, open up any type of different perspective of, you know, who you're talking to, or crowd you're adjusting at these colleges. So I get it. But, you know, it just still, you know, it still hit a little bit of shocking when I heard it.
It does seem shocking. And then this might be another shocker for you too, Jules. President Nixon, one of the most controversial presidents in American history. This is where this whole sharing the president's financial documents was started. It started with President Nixon when he released a series of when he released his information, because there were a number of press leaks that said that he had some questionable deductions to reduce his tax liability. I mean, let me just say this. This is why when we have these conversations about integrity, this is why when we have conversations about transparency and all of these discussions, right? Like, you really do need to have people in office that are going to do right by the system that they say that are going to uphold. And that's one of the big, I think, one of the huge or largest offenses of President Donald Trump. The fact is like, you don't even respect the system that you are supposed to speak for and represent. Like, you don't respect it. So, and it's hard to, okay, if the president doesn't respect it, if a congressperson doesn't respect it, then why should you expect the American people, the citizens, the constituents, to respect the system that these folks don't even respect, Lise? And so, you know, like, let me just share this with you, because I don't know the numbers offhand. So we're going to break down the numbers. At that time, the media reported that Nixon, he paid only, check this out, $792 in federal income taxes in 1970, and then $878 in 1971, even though he earned $200,000. I don't know what kind of, the math ain't mathing, okay? The math ain't mathing. I don't understand. How do you make $200,000 and you paying less than 4 figures for your taxes.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I don't get it. Let's move on. Ronald Reagan, when he shared his taxes in 81, 165,000. George H.W. Bush, 1989, $101,362. Bill Clinton in 1993, $62,670. George W. Bush Jr. in 2001, $250,202. Barack Obama. Barack had probably one of the largest, 1.7, nearly $1.8 million. Donald Trump, $750. This is how much people, this is how much the presidents were paying in taxes, folks.
Yeah.
Barack, let me just say this too. Barack, and I know people say Barack didn't even have like a side business. You know, he didn't come from money. And he paid the most in taxes.
Mm-hmm.
Nearly $1.8 million. Donald Trump claimed that he came from money all day, every day. And this dude only paid $750.
Yeah, but that was a thing that I couldn't understand when people were like, we want him because he's a businessman. And the only reason why he only pays $750 in taxes is because he's saying that he lost. So he was able to write off all the things that he lost in his business. And that's why he paid so little. So with the amount that he deducted and the amount that he said he lost, that's how much supposedly, I believe that's in federal. I mean, of course, it came from the New York, because he didn't release his taxes. So I think it was the New York Times that released that. And that shows that, are you really that great if you are saying that you've lost so much money that this is the amount that you should owe based on how much you actually collect in income? So I think we do need to look at that as well. But Joe Biden and him and Jill Biden, of course, that's awesome that she's still a teacher. That's something that she's been doing for years, like you said. They are really transparent in that sense, even, you know, with Kamala Harris and her husband. But I think that people are starting to mention, and they're starting to, because he is being transparent, but he has some issues with his son. So we have Hunter Biden is
Right.
a little concerning. So because of the multi-million-dollar deal I think he has with the Chinese energy company, people are starting to talk about that, and that he was a consultant for Burisma, which is a Ukrainian business. So there are some things where people are looking at him with the side eye, but I think he's doing a really good job of trying to be transparent and keeping things a little bit more open for the American public. So I don't know if this will change his rating at all, because it didn't. He released them last year, but at least he's trying.
At least he's trying. And at least I think the big thing, Jules, is that at least the money fits what he's actually doing. You know what I'm saying? Like he took a little pay cut because he said, "Oh, I start on January 20th, so technically I don't get the full 400,000. I get 378,000." At least you're saying, I mean, I can appreciate that. I can appreciate that. What I don't appreciate is people trying to tell us as the American people that we should be following the laws, and then y'all not following the laws. I mean, I don't get that. Jules, you got 30 seconds. What's your response, bro?
That's my exact point. I respect the fact that he is being transparent. Nobody's perfect. So I'm not judge, juror, executioner. I'm not here to say what you should be paying. I'm not here to say, you know, based off of what you're making, this is what the amount you're supposed to be paying, or nor your family. I understand. Hey, nobody's perfect. I understand. But I respect the transparency, because we haven't had that for the last 4 years. Like I said, I didn't pay attention to it until the last 4 years, because I didn't know that was such a big issue until now. And it's like, okay, now I'm starting to pay attention to when you're showing up those numbers. That Barack 1.8, that's a little hefty.
Hey, look, he was paying, and he
made a lot.
Yeah. I mean, look, let me just say,
no,
Barack, let me just tell you, even though we're talking about these numbers, President Barack Obama is getting the bag right now. Y'all hear me? Like, this is, I mean, him and First Lady Michelle Obama, they're getting the bag, but they got it after they left public service.
Right.
They got it after they left public service. And I think that's the thing that a lot of people just got to keep in mind. But it would be absolutely interesting and fascinating to see what Mitch McConnell, Joe Manchin. I would love to see Josh Hawley. I like to see the tax returns for them. Yeah, because I know some dark money is there. I know some dark money is somewhere. Lindsey Graham. Oh, you know Lindsey Graham getting somebody passing him the envelope next to, at the restaurant. Here you go, Lindsey. Yes. Praise the Lord. Praise the Lord. I know he been, they doing dirty stuff. You just know it. And it's unfortunate. It's really unfortunate. But I hope that even with President Biden, if he doesn't become president in 2024, the tradition continues, because the last thing Americans need at this time is their president lying to them about how much money he or she is earning. So we don't need no more lies at that level. So that's what it is. All right, folks, we got to take a quick pause. When we come back, let's talk about what Twitter is talking about, how a group of Christians went on a plane and decided to praise Jesus right then and there. Representative Ilhan Omar, who serves Minnesota, she said, as a Muslim, she said, I wonder if we would get the same type of reception if Muslims were to do a something like this on a plane. We'll look at that issue and show you the video. So stay with us. A lot coming up in the second 30 of The Culture right here on the Black Star Network. We'll be right back.
Don't you think it's time to get wealthy? I'm Deborah Owens, America's Wealth Coach, and my new show on the Black Star Network focuses on the things your financial advisor or bank isn't telling you. So watch Get Wealthy on the Black Star Network.
Pull up a chair, take your seat. The Black Tape with me, Dr. Greg Carr, here on the Black Star Network. Every week, we'll take a deeper dive into the world we're living in. Join the conversation only on the Black Star Network.
Hi, I'm Dr. Jackie Hood Martin, and I have a question for you. Ever feel as if your life is teetering and the weight and pressure of the world is consistently on your shoulders? Well, let me tell you, living a balanced life isn't easy. Join me each Tuesday on Black Star Network for A Balanced Life with Dr. Jackie. We'll laugh together, cry together, pull ourselves together, and cheer each other on. So join me for new shows each Tuesday on Black Star Network, A Balanced Life with Dr. Jackie.
It's time to be smart.
Roland Martin's doing this every day.
Oh, no punches!
Thank you, Roland Martin, for always giving voice to the issues.
Look for Roland Martin in the whirlwind, to quote Marcus Garvey again.
The video looks phenomenal, so I'm really excited to see it on my big screen.
Support this man, Black Media. He makes sure that our stories are told.
See, there's a difference between Black Star Network and Black-owned media and something like CNN.
I got to defer to the brilliance of Dr. Carr and to the brilliance of the Black Star Network.
I am rolling with Roland all the way.
Honored to be on a show that you own. A black man owns the show.
Folks, Black Star Network is here.
I'm real revolutionary right now. Roland was amazing on there.
Hey, Black, I love y'all.
I can't commend you enough about this platform that you've created for us to be able to share who we are, what we're doing in the world, and the impact that we're having.
Let's be smart. Bring your eyeballs home.
You can't be Black-owned media and be scared. You dig?
All right, folks, welcome back to the show. All right, let me just share with you something that's trending right now on social media, a situation that happened just a few days ago. There was a video that circulated of some folks, some Christians, being on a plane 30,000 feet in the air, and apparently these Christians decided to break out into song. I want to show you this video, and then we'll talk about the response that this video has gotten on social media. Check us out. Looks like we're going to pull up that. We're going to pull up the video in a few moments. Just going to handle that technical difficulty. But folks, this video has gotten so many. It just simply gone viral, and it was a video that representative who's Ilhan Omar of Minnesota. She put this video out there because she, after seeing this video, she asked a question on social media. What would happen if Muslims did the same thing? We've been talking to Culture Crew members, Lise Winnie, host of Millennials Anonymous podcast, and we also have Jules P., who is a hip-hop artist and activist. I want to get their thoughts, and then we're going to play this video very quickly. But, Jules, you got a group of Christians on a plane singing and you know, just doing, you know, just showing, I guess, sharing praise for Jesus, but it's on a plane, 30,000 feet in the air. And when people see this video, folks, it doesn't look like anybody is trying to stop them. No one is saying, hey, that's not appropriate. And apparently the way the report has come out that these plane passengers just essentially took over this flight. And this was just on April the 17th. So they took over this flight, and there were some mixed reactions that were captured. I mean, some people felt like it was just completely inappropriate. But then you got some other people that were singing and dancing and laughing and taking it as a jovial moment. But for Representative Ilhan Omar, who is a Muslim, says, what would happen if Muslims did the same? How do we explain this I would say this double standard in religious expression in this country?
That's exactly what I was looking at it as. So, of course, looking at the video, when I saw the footage for the first time, the first thing I thought about, I said, hey, if they're allowed to do this, do we open it up to every religion? Or not even just religion? Do we open up to anybody just being able to do what they do on a flight? I've taken hundreds of flights. I've never, ever seen nothing like this on any flight I've ever been on.
Right.
And like now we're questioning, hey, that's not something that should happen. First of all, we should be in our seats to begin with. I mean, I know plane rules. I mean, I don't know how many people have flown, but there's a lot of rules you get in the air when you're flying. They tell you what you can and can't do. Basically, aviation laws you have to follow and standards you have to keep up and uphold. So I don't want to sound hypocritical as a Christian, but I don't think that was the time nor place for it.
No, it's not the time or place for it. Lisa, I'm going to get your response. I want folks to take a look at this praise fest at 30,000 feet. Check this out, folks.
You are worthy of our praise. You're the name above. You are worthy of our praise.
Let me say this, Lise. Lise, let me just say this. If I would have been on the plane, I wouldn't have had, I mean, this makes Christianity look real crazy. This makes Christianity look real crazy. And I know, and this is not something trying to be blasphemous or anything, but this level of expression, and I'm very cognizant and cautious about how we express ourselves. Some people wear their beliefs on their sleeves, right, Lise? It's like before they even tell you their name, they tell you what they believe in. And that's fine. But one of the big things that I often, it's not, I don't know whether it's a pet peeve or something, but it's like, have consideration of other people, man. Think about other people. Like totally unsafe. You had 30, and I'm so happy that the person taking the video wanted to show everybody, like, we're literally in the air. We're literally in 30,000 feet. We're in the air, and you got a guy that is strumming the guitar in the middle of the plane in the places where that's not people hanging turned around in the seat and just, what the hell is going on?
Yeah, I mean, they are at cruising altitude, so technically you can get up at that altitude, but it is extremely rude. I think that when you look at the people around them, I don't know if it doesn't look like a private plane. This looks like a passenger plane. I don't know if most of them
Southwest planes
are filled with, like, I don't know if this is filled with most of them traveling, but this is extremely rude. I think that this just consideration when we've seen people that are eating seafood on planes, and I think this falls in that. Like, I don't want to smell your feet. I don't want to smell your food, and I don't want to hear you sing. Like, just sit down and let's get where we going. And I think that I don't always agree with Miss Omar. I don't agree with her politically on a lot of things, but I agree with her that if we would have had anyone of any other religion do this, there would have been a different reaction, especially someone of the Muslim faith. As someone who doesn't subscribe to organized religion at all, I can understand where she's coming from. And I don't think you would have had the same reaction. I think people would have been outraged. So I do agree. And in Newsweek, they actually had a couple of people that they quoted from Twitter. Some people were completely they did not like that she's saying that. They're saying that she's hypocritical. And then there were some people that completely agreed with her. So on this, I think she's absolutely correct. I don't think anyone should be doing it, though. I think this is just, everybody just sit down, sit the hell down, and let's get where we going. Don't get up. Let's just do that.
And I mean, and I'm, and I'm not, again, I'm not one. I try to be, I know I respect everyone's belief, right? Like back in the day, I was that guy that sometimes would kind of go back and forth with you. As I've gotten older, I realized I'm not going back and forth with you. I'm not going back and forth with you on tit for tat issues about what you believe, what I believe, what you think I should know, and all that stuff. I don't have time for all of that. But when you see a level of religion expression that is just so blatantly disrespectful, I'm embarrassed. I'm embarrassed for Christians,
and it was unseasoned.
I'm embarrassed. I'm embarrassed for people who truly believe in this. And this, it looks like it's made a mockery of it.
Hey,
of what you see. Go ahead, Jules. Yes, sir.
All right. Let's take a Jules perspective here. 30,000 feet in the air, singing Christian songs. If I'm on that plane, am I getting a message that I'm about to go to heaven? I feel a little uncomfortable.
Man, please.
I feel a little like that's the wrong time. 30,000 feet in the air. That means am my soul about to keep on going up past the 30,000 feet? I kind of feel weird. It kind of makes me nervous. I'm already on a plane.
Right. And I mean, this ain't Kirk Franklin.
Right, it's unseasoned. I said that's like, and it's unseasoned. So we have this, and it's unseasoned.
This ain't Hezekiah Walker.
This ain't Fred Hammond.
You know what I'm saying? This sounds like some stuff like this is, it just, maybe we watch too many movies, man. But I'm just saying, like, this is not like something. And I saw, if you look back at the video, you see some people like really, like the one guy, he looks like he's about to hit this guy in the mouth. You know what I'm saying? Like, he does not look happy at all. I guess he's sitting next to his wife. Keita, show that video one more time. I just want to show you. No, I'm serious. Yeah. And see, if we look at this situation, I mean, there's a funny element, but then there's this other side of it that is like, we're in the culture right now in this country where people really think that's cool.
Right.
Yeah.
Like people really look at this guy. He got the green shirt on with the, look at his face. He doesn't look happy at all.
Right.
And we're in a space right now where somebody can where people say, you know what, I'm gonna just break out in song.
We're in
I'm
this
gonna just
space.
break out in a song wherever.
Right.
We're in this space where that happens. Everybody wants to pull out this instead of addressing what shouldn't be happening there. We're in this space. This is the problem. We're in this space where that's a moment. So
But
now
I think
do this.
We're also missing an element. They're white. If these were a black gospel group, I do not think this would have happened. I do not see that. If this was the baby who said, you know, I'm on a plane, I'm going to start rapping, this would not have played out this way. They would have been made to sit down and people wouldn't want to hear hip hop or gospel or whatever it is. I think that's another element that we didn't address, that they're white. So this is another level of privilege that they have and they're able to do, because most people wouldn't have been able to get away with that, with people just accepting it.
I listen to music when I'm on a plane. They wouldn't let me sing my music out loud if I was in that situation.
No,
right.
You wouldn't. And see, and so some of our watchers on YouTube and Facebook are asking the question, well, where's the air marshal? Where's the air marshal? Where is the person that's responsible to keeping the plane in a state of order? Where's that person? I don't know.
Probably singing
But
along.
I think that let's keep it real. Muslims would not be able to recite the Holy Quran in that manner without getting people really starting to get upset. You know what I'm saying? Like 9/11, even though that happened 21 years ago, it is still fresh in people's minds that when black people or when Arab people or when any Muslim comes on a plane, people are already nervous.
Right.
Yeah. But Christians do bad. Timothy McVeigh wasn't he not Christian and blew up the Oklahoma? Yeah. So I mean, we can't sit here and ignore that Christians have done bad things and other people from religion. It doesn't mean that everybody from that religion should be condemned. But what I don't want people to do is say, okay, the Christians did it, now I'm going to start singing too. Like, no, everybody just sit down. Let's get where we going. Like, I'm just trying to get to Miami so I can shake my booty. I don't need to hear you sing Jesus while I do that. I just want to get from here to there. Let's do that.
Well, and I mean, look, and I think that I'm going to go back to what it says about this is the culture that we're living in. And I think, Jules, that people feel like they are under attack. And when you have people who feel like they're under attack, that they start to do stuff that is irrational, illogical, things that just make you say, well, why are you doing that? And I think that we're in this place in time. If somebody, for example, they started singing songs, but I wonder if somebody were to just stand up and start reading from the Bible, proselytizing right then and there. Right. Like we're in that space right now. And I can't get past the level of disrespect, because guess what? In this country, Muslims in particular, we are always told to be respectful. We have to, you know what I mean? There's always the shadow of persecution that is over any Muslim in this country, right? Whether you're black, whether you're Arab, whatever the case may be, you know the government does not have a good view of you and your religion, your religious expression. We know that. But in this country also, the way that Christianity is seen, I mean, the double standard is so double, the hypocrisy runs so deep and so vast. It's absolutely just mind-blowing. Absolutely mind-blowing. I want to share with you what people are checking in about this. Janae says, sure, you can pray Jesus, but you can still sit in your seat, and this is not a concert unless this was a missionary trip solely of the passengers. This is uncalled for and rude, and I love the Lord. I hear that, Janae. Janelle said, some Christians pick and choose about what the Bible means about behaving in decency and order, just like they decide which sin is sin. That's just arrogance and inconsideration, not Christ-like. Brother King Lee said, okay, so if I was on the plane and started speaking in tongues, then I would have had probably been arrested. Come on, Brother King Lee. You know you would have been arrested. You would have been arrested. And the big big part of that is what you said, Lise. These were white Christians, so there's an extension of privilege that comes along with that. And Jules, we know that wouldn't have happened, and we always say this, but if they were black Muslims, wouldn't have happened like that. It would not have happened like that.
It would have went viral, but the other way.
Right. Right. And so, Lise, when we're talking about religious expression in this country, I mean, there needs to be I think there needs to be some sort of criteria across the board. And I don't know if these passengers who felt offended can do anything in terms of suing the airlines that's for this. I don't know, but there needs to be something. At least there needs to be some rule in place saying that you cannot, by any means, do A, B, and C when it comes to your religion. You cannot do that.
Yeah, I think they should take it a step further, and not even just religions, just being disruptive, because this is disruptive to the flow of, you can't even get down the aisles. If you have flight attendants, this could be a risk to people if there's something that happened. What if there's turbulence? This is not okay. Like, at no point, not even just with religion, like, this just doesn't make sense at all. So I think that we do need something in place where people, especially on plane, there needs to be more etiquette there. I don't think they can sue, because again, they have freedom of expression, but you probably can get maybe something free on the plane. I don't know, but I think that we do need to be more courteous of others. And I think we're getting into a place that we're so internalized with me, that we are impeding upon other people's happiness. And we can't do that. We cannot continue to go down this route. This is not what we want, folks. Let's not do this.
And let's add to it the fact that Representative Ilhan Omar said something and people are getting upset with her about it.
Yeah.
Like, I don't understand that. What you getting upset for? Like, she pointed out something that is clearly not right, but because it's coming from her, you got a problem with it. And that's the other part of this whole conversation, Jules, at least. The fact is that you can't tell people that they're wrong nowadays. They could be wrong as 2 left feet, but you can't say it. You can't say, hey, look, you impinged your wrongness, and I know that's probably not even a word, but I'm gonna just use it. Your wrongness is impeding on my rightness.
Right.
And there needs to be some sort of balance, or there needs to be some sort of boundary that has to be put in place, because we all have to coexist in a small space, or at this thing, or we have to coexist together. So there is a balance. And I think that nowadays people just don't want to hear about balance. Nobody wants to hear about boundaries. It's like, I could do whatever I want to do whenever I feel like doing it, and you can't say nothing about it. That's absolutely wrong. That's wrong. Jules, what's your take, bro?
It's called entitlement. That's exactly the word that you're looking for. It's called entitlement. I can do what I want in this day and age. There's no consequences. There's no repercussions for my actions. I can do what I want, say what I want, perform any action I want at any given time. Nobody's going to stop me. Nobody's going to say anything. And that's literally the world that we're living in currently. The other thing that I'm noticing is she's getting pushback for pointing it out, but we clearly see other white people on the plane that are annoyed as well. So it's not just a Muslim thing. There are white people sitting on that plane right in front of this concert that's sitting here watching it, and they're annoyed. They're pissed off.
Come on, Jules, it wasn't no concert. It was a pop-up. I mean, and here's my thing. Do you think they planned this thing out like that?
No.
You don't think they planned it out, Lise?
I think they felt like they probably said, I feel the spirit of Jesus, and I'm going to stand up and I'm going to sing this unseasoned Christian song that all these other white people know somehow, and we're going to just break out in song. Like, I feel like that's what happened, but I don't think they planned this out. And I honestly, I do think that what Representative Omar said, she's right, and to have her own opinions, but I do think that sometimes was there a better way to word that? Where
better
we
way
don't
for her
have
to word that?
Yeah, where we don't have to.
That's why I got to push back against you with the Lise. That's why I got.
That's why I'm here. That's why I'm here.
No, I mean that's fine. We're gonna push back on it, but better way to word what? All she asked was a question. And let me share it. Keenan, throw up the quote from Representative Ilhan Omar. Check this out. This is all she tweeted. I think my family and I should have a prayer session next time I'm on a plane.
I think it's some more to that. So she tweeted more.
Let me just double check. Let me just share with you. But if you're saying that there's a better way for her to word that, what other way should she have worded that?
I think as a representative in politics, I think what she should have probably have done is said that we need better rules and standards for the FAA, that we make sure that everyone's rights are not impeded upon. This is not safe for people to do this. I think that what people would have been like, you know what? I think you're right. Now people automatically got on the defensive when she said that. Because if you go and you read some of the tweets that some of the people, and I'm not blaming her because I agree with her. But what I'm saying is I think sometimes we can avoid some of the back and forth if we were, especially when you're on a public platform.
Yeah.
You got to be really careful with how you word things. That's just my opinion.
So you're saying that if she was pointed out the fact that this was inconsiderate, that this was a major breach of safety, that she wouldn't have gotten that pushback that she's been getting?
I think, of course, she's always going to get pushback. Because
I'm about to say she's always going to get pushback.
She's always going to get pushback. But I think that the level of pushback would have been different, where people wouldn't have automatically jumped on the defense. Where it's like, oh, this is about religion.
Here's what I think.
Let's take that out.
Here's what I think is the issue with that. And here's why, and, you know, at least, you know, we family, so that we can have this conversation. But here's where I think the issue with that. The issue is you're not looking at the right thing. You're worried about the respectability politics of how something is said versus actually looking at what was done. The respectability politics would have said what you did on the plane that can be considered to be very inappropriate, offensive. I mean, all of those things. That's what was done. And I think that Ilhan Omar, she was just pointing out the fact of the double standard in this country, that white Christians or Christians in general have a lot more leeway than Muslims.
But I think she just stated her feelings. She actually didn't give a solution. When you are in a place of that type of stat, if you complain, give me what are you complaining about and what is the solution that you are proposing in order to fix it. She just said, my feelings are hurt. You got to give more than that. I think that's where we get stuck in this cycle in this country, where it's like, my feelings are hurt. I don't like it, but I'm not telling you exactly what's wrong with it. This is, even if she would have said
don't
that,
do it.
This right. I think that's where she should have went with this. Like, say that.
I don't know. But see, I don't know, Jules. I don't know even if she would have said, hey, this was inappropriate. This is not a safety. This was a breach of safety. I don't know if that really would have changed anything, because I think people just, depending on who you're talking to, they might have a decent view of her, or they just might not have a decent view of her. But you know what I mean? It's like you caught in between this catch-22. Damn if you do, damn if you don't. You know what I mean? Because it's coming from her.
I feel like regardless of who it's coming from, there still should be a level of decorum and etiquette when you're in the air. Like that's what we got to get back to. It shouldn't happen to begin with. You got to maintain your seat on a plane. You only need to get up when you have to go to the restroom. Aisles need to be cleared, and that's pretty much it. You listen to your music, you listen to your podcast, you listen to your movies with your headphones in. Like that shouldn't have to be an explanation. We know, like, I've flown a lot of my life. I understand the etiquette of being in the air. There shouldn't have to be any other explanation needed to say what should have been done, what shouldn't have been done. That should be like, that's the problem. Everybody wants to break a rule and then go viral. It's plain and simple. Just sit your butt in the seat. Let's get to our destination safely. Our pilot is doing the best to get us there safely. Let's make sure he's good. Let's make sure the stewardess has got out, and we keep it moving. Like that's Plain and simple. I feel like I don't want it to go too deep because, again, there's a level of etiquette and decorum. If I'm at a concert, okay, I can sing and dance. I can do what I want. I can stand. I can praise. If I'm in a church setting, I can do what I want. If you're in a mosque, that's okay. That's the setting for what you're trying to achieve. But we're in the air. So let's get back to what we're supposed to be doing instead of trying to go and break all these different rules and chains of explaining what should have been said or what shouldn't have been said.
Yeah, I agree with you.
Yeah, say that. Yeah, say that. That's what you say. Exactly what he just said. That's it.
I mean, I agree. I am in total agreement. I just think that, it's one of them situations. It's just really one of them situations where you can say all the right things, but it's crazy that you got to still, like in a case like this, in a moment like this, that where people have shown complete disregard for other people, the person that's pointing out the wrong has to walk on eggshells about a situation where people didn't give a damn. That just doesn't sit well with me personally, but I understand what y'all saying.
I still think we're not talking about the right thing.
I mean, like, okay, so you walking, you could say whatever, you could do whatever, but in my response to you, I have to consider your feelings. I have to consider other people's feelings. Like,
not considering feelings, but getting the point across. Like, do you want to be right or do you want to get stuff done? And that is the problem in politics right now. That is why we don't get anything done, because it's about being right and proving my point and not actually getting stuff done.
If you don't know it, okay, I agree with you on that. But if you don't know that you ain't supposed to stand up, pull out the guitar, and start walking up and down the aisles and start singing Christian hymns, right? Or you're supposed to, turn around in the middle of your seat and just lean over. If you don't know that come on.
Common sense is not common anymore. It's just not.
I mean, that's not common sense. That's just, you're an idiot. I mean, I
don't disagree. We agree on that. We agree.
You know what I'm saying? Like, everybody else is sitting down, but you feel like, well, why is everybody else sitting down? Why they ain't joining the jam session? You're an idiot. Absolute idiot. And it's sad because I know somebody might say, well, look at here, there he is talking bad about Christianity. No, we're not talking bad about Christianity. We're talking bad about the people who make these decisions and using Christianity as the guise. That's an idiot move. If a Muslim started to do some idiot stuff, I would say, nope, that's wrong. Don't attach Islam to that. Nope. That's you. That ain't it Islam. That's you. That's the same way here. Don't attach and say, because please, I'm a Jesus. No. That is just wrong. It's inconsiderate. It's unsafe. No. You don't get no pass for that, bro. You don't get no pass for that. All right, but look, we're gonna have to agree to disagree. But it's cool though. It's cool. We don't totally disagree, but it's cool.
Yeah, we agree. We agree.
We agree. We agree like cousins agree.
Yeah.
All right, look, I gotta take a quick pause. When we come back, we're gonna switch gears a little bit, folks. Let's talk about what's happening with friendship in this country. There is a very real concern that people are becoming more and more socially isolated, especially after COVID-19. So we'll have that conversation. And then later, we check in with author D. Watkins to talk about HBO's newest show, We Own This City, and talking about some of the crime and corruption in the city of Baltimore and how it's going to be played out on the big screen. So stay with us. Those conversations are coming up next in the next hour of The Culture here on the Culture here on the Black Star Network. We'll be right back.
Don't you think it's time to get wealthy? I'm Deborah Owens, America's Wealth Coach, and my new show on the Black Star Network focuses on the things your financial advisor or bank isn't telling you. So watch Get Wealthy on the Black Star Network.
Hi, I'm Dr. Jackie Hood Martin, and I have a question for you. Ever feel as if your life is teetering and the weight and pressure of the world is consistently on your shoulders? Well, let me tell you, living a balanced life isn't easy. Join me each Tuesday on Black Star Network for A Balanced Life with Dr. Jackie. We'll laugh together, cry together, pull ourselves together, and cheer each other on. So join me for new shows each Tuesday on Black Star Network, A Balanced Life with Dr. Jackie.
Pull up a chair, take your seat. The Black Tape with me, Dr. Greg Carr, here on the Black Star Network. Every week, we'll take a deeper dive into the world we're living in. Join the conversation only on the Black Star Network.
Folks, welcome to the second hour of today's show. We had some great conversations during the first hour, but this next segment we wanted to have a discussion around. It's about socialization. We're finding that there are a number of studies and surveys that are being done where people are saying that it's harder now, especially in light of, even though we might be at the tail end of this pandemic, it's still harder for people to connect the way they used to connect. And that it is harder as an adult to make new friends. This is based upon a recent study that talks about the rise in social isolation. This was from a 2019 survey. Let me just throw throw this data up there for you, Keenan. If we could post that, let me just share this with you, folks. It said this even before COVID, and this is a part about how you optimize your life. Like so many of us look at life and try to figure out how do we make sure that we get to an optimized place with everything we do. Well, they're saying even before COVID, this came out of the New York Times. Even before COVID, a stark and disconcerting trend was underway: a decline in meaningful relationships and a rise in social isolation. A 2019 survey found that a whopping 61% of Americans reported feeling lonely. Making friends as an adult is difficult, and research published in 2020 in the journal Personality and Individual Differences offers some clues as to why. Among the top reasons adults have an especially hard time making friends is that they are less likely to trust new people, and because they say they don't have time. Wow. Take a look at that. I want to bring in our culture crew, Lise Winnie, host of a Millennials Anonymous podcast, and our newest culture crew member, Jules P., who is a hip-hop artist and activist, as we look at this issue. Is it harder to make friends as an adult, Lise and Jules? Lise, I'm going to start with you with that, sis. Is it harder to make friends as an adult? Do you feel like this study here is on to something, that we have become more socially isolated than we probably have been in a very long time?
Yes, I think I agree with that 1,000% that it's hard. Because like as a kid, you meet most of your friends in school. Like you don't just walk up to somebody in the grocery store like, hey, you want to be friends. They're going to be like, somebody call 911 immediately. Like no one is doing that. So you meet all your friends at work. I think a lot of adults meet their friends through work because we're pushed and forced together. And that's how you create your relationships. And if during COVID, we missed that completely. Like there wasn't any of that connection or bond building. So you were just kind of like alone. We don't talk to people without trying to talk to people. When's the last time somebody just came up to you on the streets and just tried to be your friend without trying to date you? I'm pretty sure you probably like, never. Like if a man just came up to you, Farajii, and was like, hey, I like baseball. You like baseball? Like you would be like, what? What? No. It's not going to go well. It's not going to go well. Let's just say that. So we do need to normalize talking to people. Like, let's normalize having conversations with people.
Yeah, I would definitely agree with that. I mean, I'm not going to be running around like Jules and be like, "Hey, you like gold chains? I like gold chains too." So let's link up. You like black music? You like hip hop? I love hip hop, and then let's just hang out. We know that, but I do think that they quoted in this piece how different scientists and scholars are looking at this loneliness epidemic. The fact that so many people are lonely. I mean, in that little excerpt that we shared, with 61% of people say that they feel lonely. And this was in 2019. Now, fast forward 3 years later, I'm sure a lot more people are feeling even more lonely, even though, Jules, we have technology where we're supposed to be connected to friends and family and to the rest of the world. It seems like we're becoming more and more closed in with ourselves. So what's your take on that, Jules?
All right, you ready for this? Because I just was having this discussion actually this weekend. And I went in deep. I kind of talked to my staff about it at work, and then I actually talked to her about it with my actual partner. So, and me and her have discussions all the time about it. So, I'll give you a couple different ways about it. So, one, I also am in the. I don't think making friends is easy anymore. Like Lee said, I mean, it's not like we're in high school where where you're in your class with your friends and then or your neighborhood. Like I know when I went to high school, I had friends I had in class, and also I had the friends of people that I walked home with because I walked to school. So a lot of us lived in the neighborhood. We lived in the neighborhood at many different apartment complexes. So you knew who lived in the building down there. You knew who lived in the complex down there. So it was kind of that was our clique. As an adult, and I was having this discussion last night, matter of fact, I think my closest friends are the friends that I travel with. So those are the ones I only see when we go on vacations. I don't really have a clique that I roll with when I'm going to the city, when I'm going out on different adventures, when I'm going to DC, when I'm doing different things. I don't have a certain clique that I roll with. I'm an only child, so I don't even really care. Like I don't have a loneliness feeling. I'm actually perfectly fine with not having friends. Hell, when I was a kid, my imaginary friends was cooler than people anyway. So I don't really care. Like to have a personal preference of trying to be your buddy, trying to be your A1 since day one. I feel like people have ulterior motives. A lot of times, you meet people of the opposite sex. Like Lee said, think about it. If I'm meeting a female and I'm talking to her, is she thinking I'm trying to holler at her? Or, hey, let's go out and get some drinks for happy hour. I'm a cool dude. I love hanging out. Let's get a drink, positive like that. Then we go for a drink. Oh, now does she think we're dating? Like, no, I just wanted a drink. I don't want to be your man. Like, I really just want a drink. Hey, like, all right, like, let's end this right now. Because I don't like, it's like, that's the world we live in. Also, now, with that loneliness factor, then like I said, then you got the essence of social media. So they're talking about, they send the scientists are talking about the different dating apps and things like that. Well, here's the problem. Everybody looks like they're living life. I keep on telling you, social media is not a platform where you're putting your real business out there. It's not a platform where you're actually showing how you're actually living. It's to stunt. So when I see people doing better, this looks like, oh, this is what they're doing. You thinking they're so lit, and then you go meet them. It's like, oh, that's nothing that what that picture is representing. There's nothing with your profile that'll follow your OnlyFans. Like, no, we ain't doing that, baby. Like, you're not living that life. Like, that's not who you actually are, and that's the perspective that you're putting out there. So it's like it's really hard now. It's like you just finding genuine people. I feel like it has to start with you being genuine. Once you're genuine, your radar goes off. You can see straight through people once you meet them. It's plain and simple. So the more genuine you are, you can spot people's BS a mile away before they even come into your spaces.
Wow. So I think that, I mean, you touched on a couple of different things, and Lisa, and I think this is one of the underlying things. Janelle checked in on our YouTube page and she said trust is gone.
Yeah.
And I think that's where we are right now. Like, I've heard from both sides, from both men and women, we don't trust anybody nowadays.
Right.
And so if friendship is built upon the pillar of trust, then we're choosing not to become friends with people. We can be friendly, but we're choosing not to become friends with people because we don't trust them. We don't fully believe who they are. Jules, you talked about social media. You know what I mean? Like the imagery that we get from social media versus the reality of who that person is not consistent in a lot of ways. Right. And so it just automatically leaves a bad taste in your mouth the trust. And I've heard it time and time again where people are like, "Oh, you're not like what I expected," or somebody might say, "Oh, I thought you might have been older," or "I thought you were this way," or "I thought you were that way." You know what I mean? Like we kind of go into situations looking for inconsistencies versus going into situations saying, "Hey, this is where I am. This is where you are. We have some common interests. Let's see if we can build a genuine relationship." What's your take on that, Lise?
I agree 100%. I think that there is an issue with trust. Again, what Jules is saying, I agree. Yet we are looking at social media and we're thinking this is one way and then it's actually another. But I think that it also brings into the level of conversation about communication, because when they've done studies on Generation Z and millennials, they said they prefer to text. They don't want to talk to each other face to face. And so we're taking out the communication piece. So we don't even know how to communicate with each other. And then we are living in this world in silos where we want people to say and believe and do everything that we believe that they should. And as soon as they don't do that, we don't want to be a part of them. So then we have groups of people that don't talk anymore. And that's the problem. Back in the day, you had friends that believed every which way and it was okay. Now you have to have everybody on your team has to think this way. And if they don't think this way, you don't want to communicate with them. So social media has also created this world where people don't want to communicate with each other anymore. And they don't feel the need until you're sitting in a house by yourself and you're like, I'm really lonely. Like I got 300,000 followers, but I don't have anybody that actually truly I can tell what's going on with me. I don't have anybody to truly talk to. And that's why right now therapy and it's, therapists are swamped. They are booked. I've tried to book a therapist. You cannot do it. It is hard to find one because everybody right now needs to talk to somebody.
No, I agree with you. McCole checked in on our YouTube page and said, look, I believe that one of the reasons adults have difficulties forming new relations or new friendships is that some people believe people have to think and believe exactly like them to be friends.
Just said that. Yep, I agree.
I'm bringing that up to add to your point, Lise. Like social media has done such a job on relationships and interactions and how we engage with one another that if you don't have, and McCall, I appreciate your comment. If you don't connect with somebody that has the same interest that you are, you automatically discount them as being a part of your life, right? And we automatically, and I don't want to go too deep down this rabbit hole, but if somebody is not if somebody doesn't work for you, quote unquote, then we just block them.
Yeah.
I'm gonna just block them. I'm about to cut them off. Like I've heard, and Jules, you probably heard this saying, I don't know how many times where I've heard women in particular, and I'm not trying to make this a male-female thing, but I just heard there's a lot of women. It's like, if he do something wrong, I'm cutting him off. He done. And one of the big things that I know about friendships, one, it takes time to build friendships, and that's a premium that nobody has anymore. We don't have time to build no friendship. It's like as soon as you talk to somebody and you literally like, all right, let me see if I can build a friendship. It don't have to be between a man and a woman. It could be two men, two women. But the whole thing is, don't come into my life because I don't have no time. And you have to try to figure out how you gotta navigate through somebody's life, right? As if they got it all together. But you gotta figure it out. Like you gotta start playing this kind of like dance of like, okay, are they good today? Do I talk to them tomorrow? You're going through all of these things because people don't have time. People don't trust nobody. We don't feel like, like you said, to the point of talking. If you talk to somebody over the phone, then, you get to hear the tone of their voice. You get to feel the vibrations of their energy. But that's all gone because we're texting. We are essentially like creating our own holes to be in, and then we're mad that it's so dark in our hole. I don't understand. Jules, what's your take?
So I look at it a couple of different perspectives. You brought up a couple. Actually, both of y'all brought up great points. So I look at it like this. So I don't know. Like I'm a different generation. So it's like when I was younger, you were taught that if you were the smartest person in your group, you need to get you a better group to grow yourself. I feel like in today's world, it's the opposite. Everybody wants to be the smartest person in the group to control the group. Like you said, to share the same ideals, to do the same practices, to basically be the yes man or the yes woman to that person. Nobody wants to hear the no, you shouldn't do that. And that's again, I'm old school with it. That's a different type of level right there, because like you need somebody to hold you accountable. That's what a friend is. A friend is somebody that you trust to hold you accountable. So if you have a bunch of people that let you do the BS that you want to get away with, then they're not your friends. They just associates. So call them that. Hey, I got a bunch of associates. That's fine to say. I have tons of associates. I'll take a shot with them. That's fine. But I go to hell home when I leave that daggone bar. I'm cool. We ain't got text. We ain't got talk. We ain't got share no information. We ain't got to be friends on social media because I could care less. I'm going for the atmosphere. That's your associate. A friend is somebody that you trust that can hold you accountable. So that's why I look at it as like, okay, I don't really have that many friends. Now, sidebar, if anybody that's listening to this that I'd forgotten, I said, hey, I only travel with my friends, and we feel like, oh, Dad, we just went to the bar the other week. My bad, I'll buy you a shot this weekend. It's on me. Like, I don't want nobody feeling like no certain type of way. I'm just, y'all, but again, you know me. I'm being 100% real. I'm always going to tell you the truth at all times. And I feel like that's what the purpose of a friend is. It's like somebody that I can lean on when times get rough. Like I consider myself a friend to a lot of people. But a lot of times I feel like it's not reciprocated. And I'll give you a prime example. When people have birthdays, I always say this. If I know you personally, you are my homie. We cool. And I know you personally. We have a good relationship, whether you're my homie, my homegirl, whatever. I'm calling you on your birthday. I'm not waiting till you post on social media to get lost in them 100 million comments saying happy birthday. I'm calling my friend. I'm FaceTiming my friend. Let him, yo, it's your day. What's up? Where we at? What's going on? You ain't got to invite me nothing. Hey, boom, I send you. Are you going to Miami? Man, I send you $40. Like, whatever. Like, let me pay for your drinks at the airport. Like, whatever. Like, that's a friend to me. There's no boundaries. There's no limits. It's just being real. Let's all right. Let's chill. Let's do what we got to do. But I work. You work. We're busy. I get it. It's the times we live in. I was working 2 jobs at a time. You might be busy with your kids and things like that. I understand. We don't have time to do what we used to do back in the days, but I'm still your friend. And any given time, when something happens, I'm picking up the phone. I'm there. Or if I need to send some money, or if I need to send love or light, whatever you need, I'm there. That's what a friend is. Now that word has just been used so much, it's kind of like lost its value. Nobody really uses it properly. Everybody uses it so much. That's why everybody, my sis, my bro. That's not your sis. That's not your bro. They don't bang with you like that. They talking about you as soon as you get out that space with them. So it's like, stop. Everybody's devaluing these different words. And it's like, that's the problem that we have right now. It's like nobody's actually using this time and these words to actually link up and partner and, work on these actual bonds and building and growing. Even if you disagree in different aspects or different topics, you still can be friends.
Oh man, Jules, you shared so much with us, brother. And I think I want to bring this to Lise because you're absolutely right. And I think, unfortunately, that's the technology culture space that we're in, where we use the word friend so much that it has lost its value. Like, people say, oh, you don't have followers, you have friends. Of course, we know that it's on Facebook and stuff. But the point is that it does take away from what the role of what that role is. It just leaves. Just because you know somebody by name doesn't make them your friend. And I think that somewhere along the line, Lise, we have lost the sense of what is a friend, what is an associate. We're not clear about these roles, and therefore, since we aren't clear about these roles, we don't know how to build these relationships that's going to speak to that role. If whether you're dealing with 2 people who are attracted to one another, like even if you're attracted to one another, if you say that's a friend of mine, then there is some boundaries, there are some expectations. I mean, we're just throwing words around, thinking that we're connecting with people. And I know people that are always on a connection hunt. Everybody's like, oh, I just want to feel connected. I want to feel connected. And it's like, okay, but there is a give and take in that relationship.
Yeah.
It's not just about you getting what you want out of the situation. You got to open up your world. As Mary J. Blige says, share my world. You got to share your world with somebody totally new, and then you trying to figure out if that person fits into your world. I know it's a lot to think about or to speak to, Lise, but what are your thoughts on that?
I mean, I agree with you, and I guess I'm going to take the perspective and flip it a little bit. I think that when it comes to friends, I think people need to understand, because the literal definition of friendship is a person whom one knows, with whom one has a bond or mutual affection that's typically exclusive of sexual or a family relationship or relations. But I think that what we need to do is stop what you're saying. Stop thinking that friends should be everything. Like, this friend should be my all. They've got to be this ride or die. I think that we should normalize that it's okay to compartmentalize your friends. Like, it's cool that this is my buddy that I go hang out with. You're not the buddy that I'm going to go talk to about my personal feelings. I think that that is okay too. And that's why a lot of people feel like they don't have any friends, because they feel like this one friend or these friends are not doing everything for them. And I think that's also what's wrong in relationships. When you look at relationships, people are looking for this person to be everything and they're all, when the issue is, it's not the person, it's you. You have to find out what is missing from you that you need to fix so that you're not draining this person because you're trying to get it from them. That's what we need to do. We need to normalize that it's okay that this friend is cool for that and they're not cool for this. That's okay. And I know we've used associate and friends, but at the end of the day, you can have a friend that, yeah, we're surface level friends, where this person is my close friend. This is my best friend, but we are still friends, so that you don't feel as lonely. Does that make sense?
That makes a lot of sense. I think that makes a lot of sense. I love, and I had to write this down, like you said, compartmentalized friendships. I think that is part of the expectation problem that we have when we're talking about building relationships, is that we choose one person, and that one person got to be the end all be all for everything, right? And it's like,
it's not right. Not really.
Like Jules said, it's not right. It's not right. Like, you can't have a homeboy, and he's your brother. He's your main man. I mean, he's your wingman. I mean, he does it all, right? He hitting all the, and though you might have a homegirl, you have this woman in your life, and she's everything, right? And it's just like, and I think part of the reason that people have created those type of relationships is because we're afraid to open ourselves up anymore.
Right.
We're afraid to feel vulnerable around a person anymore. And if we do get vulnerable, now we got to be dating.
Right.
Now, the moment I open my heart up to you, man,
right,
you bet. You at this point, you bet. You mine, because I'm not opening my heart up to anybody else.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? You bet now. So I mean, it's just like, we just have to figure this thing out. And I think that's the hardest part about this whole scenario, is that we're going to have to walk our way through this step by step. And I think for folks that are listening, look, be very clear about what type of friendships you want.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's the first step in all of these things. What is it that you want? Be clear about what is it that you want. Don't seek to bring people into your space, into your world, and you don't even know why you want them there.
There you go.
Yeah.
Or Lise, Jules, y'all know this happens. You bring a joker into your space, and then you don't want to branch out, so you make up some crazy reason in your mind that you try to get them to fit to.
Mm-hmm.
Look at Jules' face. Mm-hmm. You try to force them into it, like, but she's or he. Don't do that, because you want to get yourself right.
Yeah, she robbed banks, but she get back to charity too.
Right.
Yeah.
It's just insane, absolutely insane. So it's going to be interesting to see how friendships evolve over the next year, especially in 2022. But I think that the thing from trust to vulnerability to having clear expectations, all of these things are necessary if you're trying to make a friend. and just be honest with the person. Be very upfront about what it is that you're willing to deal with and what you're not willing to deal with. But that, it's gonna take some time. And if you ain't gonna be, look, and I see this, and I'm gonna shut this down. Just because a person don't become your best friend in a week's time don't mean that they can't become your best friend in a lifetime.
Right. That takes time.
The time frame that and the expectations that we have of the time frame is so messed up that it's hard. You can't become nobody's best friend in no doggone week.
No.
I mean, who would want a friend like that? You just meet him on Sunday. By Saturday, man, this is my man. We're gonna try. I mean, that's crazy. You ain't even vet him.
Yeah, that's some hand and rocks the cradle stuff. That's not good.
That's like, oh, we friends now. We besties now. Like, you gonna call somebody your bestie after 5 or 6 days? Oh, that's my bestie right there.
That makes you look desperate.
What'd you say?
That makes you look desperate.
Oh man, it makes you look beyond desperate. It makes you look crazy. All right, we got to take a quick pause. When we come back, we're going to talk about HBO's new series that's going to be kicking off on April 25th called We Own This City. We're going to be checking in with author D. Watkins to break down what this series is all about and talk about some of the work that he's doing in Baltimore to use literacy to bring power where there has been so much pain. So that conversation is coming up next. And of course, we got for you trends, posts, and doing the most. So stay with us. A lot coming at you for the final 30 of the culture right here on the Black Star Network. We'll be right back.
Pull up a chair, take your seat. The Black Tape with me, Dr. Greg Carr, here on the Black Star Network. Every week, we'll take a deeper dive into the world we're living in. Join the conversation only on the Black Star Network.
Don't you think it's time to get wealthy? I'm Deborah Owens, America's Wealth Coach, and my new show on the Black Star Network focuses on the things your financial advisor or bank isn't telling you. So watch Get Wealthy on the Black Star Network.
Hi, I'm Dr. Jackie Hood Martin, and I have a question for you. Ever feel as if your life is teetering and the weight and pressure of the world is consistently on your shoulders? Well, let me tell you, living a balanced life isn't easy. Join me each Tuesday on Black Star Network for A Balanced Life with Dr. Jackie. We'll laugh together, cry together, pull ourselves together, and cheer each other on. So join me for new shows each Tuesday on Black Star Network, A Balanced Life with Dr. Jackie.
It's time to be smart.
Roland Martin's doing this every day.
Oh, no punches!
Thank you, Roland Martin, for always giving voice to the issues.
Look for Roland Martin in the whirlwind, to quote Marcus Garvey again.
The video looks phenomenal, so I'm really excited to see it on my big screen.
Support this man, Black Media. He makes sure that our stories are told.
See, there's a difference between Black Star Network and Black-owned media and something like CNN.
I got to defer to the brilliance of Dr. Carr and to the brilliance of the Black Star Network.
I am rolling with Roland all the way.
Honored to be on a show that you own. A black man owns the show.
Folks, Black Star Network is here.
I'm real revolutionary right now. Roland was amazing on that.
Stay black. I love y'all.
I can't commend you enough about this platform that you've created for us to be able to share who we are, what we're doing in the world, and the impact that we're having.
Let's be smart. Bring your eyeballs home.
You can't be Black-owned media and be scared. You dig?
It's time to be smart. When we control our institutions, we win. This is the most important news show on television of any racial background. Y'all put $2, $3, $4, $5, $10, $15, $20, $30 on this and keep this going. What you've done, Roland, since this crisis came out in full bloom. Anybody watching this, tell your friends. Go back and look at the last 2 weeks, especially of Roland Martin Unfiltered. I mean, hell, go back and look at the last 2 days. You've had sitting United States senators today, Klobuchar and Harris. Whatever you can bring to Roland Martin Unfiltered to support it, please do, because this information may literally save your life.
Watch Roland Martin Unfiltered daily at 6 p.m. Eastern on YouTube, Facebook, or Periscope, or go to RolandMartinUnfiltered.com.
Support the Roland Martin Unfiltered Daily Digital Show by going to RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. Our goal is to get 20,000 of our fans contributing $50 each for the whole year. You can make this possible. RolandMartinUnfiltered.com.
Folks, for our final conversation today, we wanted to have a very, very special guest, and I'm very happy to have this man joining us here on The Culture, as he has been shaping the culture with his pen. He serves as the editor-at-large for Salon. He is also a professor at the University of Baltimore and founder of the Be More Writers Project. He's the author of the New York Times best-selling memoirs, The B-Side, Living and Dying While Black in America, and The Cook-Up, a crack rock memoir. His other book, We Speak for Ourselves, How Woke Culture Prohibits Progress. And he has a new book that's out for pre-order right now called Black Boy Smile. I am so happy to have us join here on The Culture on the Black Star Network, author, award-winning journalist, Mr. D. Watkins. D, thank you so much for joining us, brother. How are you, sir?
Farajii, it's been too long, man. Always happy to see you, man. And thank you for having me.
Oh, absolutely. It has been a long time, brother. It has been way too long. But you know what? I love to see the fact that you are just constantly working, D. You are adding to the culture, and your voice is so significant and it's so necessary right now that we need to have Black writers like yourself and others who understand the dynamics of culture and is just doing their part to shift it in a way where we can gain from it. We're not just becoming victims of it. We can actually gain from it. So I'm very, very happy to have you joining us today. Let's talk about some of the work that you've been doing. First, you are the editor-at-large for Salon. Talk to us a little bit about that work, brother.
I get a chance to have fun, like working at Salon. Like I get a chance to talk about things that you don't really see on a lot of these websites. They give me the space to do deep dives into certain issues that I care about. And then they also give me the space to be funny too, as well. And I also had the space to get a whole lot of Black writers their first time publishing in a major publication. So they got the opportunity to be able to start their careers. And I think if anyone is watching this and you know, we're talking about success and good things, which is always cool. I just want to say, when it's all said and done, I want people to look at me as a person who got into this industry and opened it up and helped open it up for other people, because I think it's so important.
Yeah, brother, it's so important. And you know, of course, this show is called The Culture. So we're always, you know, looking at ways that we have been impacted by the culture, as just as much as looking at ways that we can shape the culture. And for you, how do you, when you put your books out, you got another book that's going to be coming out very soon. But when you put your work and your piece out there, like, do you keep those things in mind and say, okay, this is going to shift the culture about Black boys. This is going to change the conversation about Baltimore and drugs. I mean, how do you approach that?
So every book has like a different purpose, right? So I wrote 3 books in the last year. One of them was Carmelo Anthony's memoir. I wrote Where Tomorrow's Not Promised. The other one was for another NBA player that I can't say. And the other one was Black Boy Smile, which comes out in May. And when I was working on the Mello book, Mello wanted to talk about dealing with depression as a young Black man in West Baltimore who at times felt hopeless. So, you know, I felt that way, and I connect with so many people when I go to all these schools and teach all these workshops and talk to all these kids. I come across a whole lot of kids when they pass their papers in, or the ones that are, you know, really bold and tell me out loud. A lot of times they feel hopeless. So I wanted to utilize that book to not only tell his story of how it wasn't all sweet before he got to where he was going at, but he, you know, he learned to trust his journey early on. But even still, he had to battle with depression. So two things can be true. And then the other book that I wrote is a similar situation. But you know, this athlete wanted to talk about how strong his family was, and you know how his grandfather gave him fundamental principles and skills that took him from being you know, a good kid, but it took him to being a person who has achieved a whole lot of success on and off the court and created opportunities for so many Black people. And then Black Boy Smile is about the flawed way a lot of us, you know, masculinity and how we come into this and what that is, that I'm always tough, I'm always right, I'm ready to fight you, I never cry, you know, like I'll do this, I'll do that. And you know, and how it's passed down from generation to generation to generation, and how we need to start having conversations, not just about where it comes from, but how do we get to a place of happiness and to be able to enjoy ourselves and what that looks like. So they all kind of like tie into the different conversations that I'm not seeing, or conversations that other people who are around want to have, and they just want to, you know, use my pen to get it out.
So that is the power that you bring to the world. You know, if you are a superhero, D, that would be your power, brother. Your ability is your power to tell profound stories in such a way that we can relate to it, and then at the same time learn from it. So I think that's big. Now you along with the projects that you're doing, there is, show that book again, because I know.
I want to show this. I just wanted to show it because what I'm talking about is like what I'm talking about is this photo. These photos were done by Devin Allen, who's a self-trained Black.
Oh, the great Devin Allen.
The design is by Makia Hughley, who's a graphic designer, Black woman from West Baltimore, and all of these people were able to get paid by a big publishing company to be able to utilize their art. And in turn, they can take that money to bring up other artists and help. So after Makia did my book, now all the publishing company is saying is, can you do this one? Can you do this one? Can you do that one? Now she's booked, right? Devin Allen been doing this thing with the photos, but it's deep. It's more than just me writing a book. It is how are we, not just the content, but how we utilize all of the resources around this thing to elevate. And we got to keep, I'm not going to say what other people need to do. It's so important to me. And that's just, I try to push every artist or every person in a position to do that.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I want to bring in my culture crew members, Lise Winnie, host of Millennials Anonymous podcast, and my man Jules P., who is a hip hop artist and activist, to be a part of this conversation with D. Watkins. First, Jules, as you're talking to D, what's your question for D. Watkins?
I don't even have a question. Mine is more so just a praise to you and your work. That's actually what I think that the city needs as far as positive stories. I always use my personal experiences to teach the students I mentor or the staff that I work with, because I treat them like my staff are young. So I treat them as my mentees as well, to give them growth and game and development. And so I try to use my personal experience to give to them as well. And I see the same thing that you're doing with the efforts of your books and how you're utilizing and putting people in place around you. So I just want to commend you for that, because I feel like that needs to be talked about more than just focusing on all the negative crime and all the mishaps and things we have going on in the city. So that's just my perspective I want to give to you.
That's what's up. That's what's up. Lise, you have any questions or share any thoughts with D. Watkins?
So how important is it for Black people to become the publishers, and publishing our own stories and narratives? Because when you sometimes go to different outlets, they do have some say-so over what gets put out and what doesn't. How important is that as a Black creator?
I think it's very important. And I've had friends that started publishing companies and friends that self-published books. I funded someone's publishing company, so it's like I dibble and dabble in that business. And I also work with people in the industry who came through the ranks and are kind of you can be proud when you own it, and you can also be proud if you make it to be like a publisher in one of the big imprints. Like I think both things are true. I know for me personally, I'm more effective in trying to connect these worlds and using the vehicles to sell my books as best as possible. But no, I think it's extremely important because a whole lot of us, like, I'll give you a quick story. When I was trying to sell a cook up, which was what came out as my second book, but I wrote it first. An email came from a publisher to a representative I had that I wasn't supposed to see, and the email was like, "Yo, a guy from." And at the time, I was in between spaces. I was down Latrobe housing projects, and I saw the email. The email said, "A guy from East Baltimore writing a book about being from East Baltimore who lives in East Baltimore. He'll die before his pub date." So that's the level of racism you're dealing with, right? And it's crazy because a black woman told me she thought I was too talented to have to fight this hard to get a book deal. So she gave me a book deal and she quit the industry and she left, right? And now and another editor took it over and another editor took it over, but now she's back as an agent and she's representing. She got I've probably fought like maybe 20 clients over to her and they rocking and rolling. And the woman who ended up editing my first book is she's with Hachette now, but she like runs the whole imprint. So, and then I got friends who do their things with the companies that they own. So I think both of those worlds are important. I think a lot of times we try to pit them against each other, but I think we can, like, both things can be true.
So do you talking about that level of racism and you talking about that level of pushback from just Black people who are in the industry? These aren't.
No, it's Black people. It's Black people in the industry that can't stand me. You know what I'm saying? And I don't even hold nothing against them. Like, I don't really. So it's crazy, Farajii, because I like we've had these conversations year off, and I go through different stuff. Like, I know you go through stuff, and we grow and we grow and we grow. And it's like I'm the most least combative person that anybody's probably ever going to meet right now, because I've just come to the understanding that everybody has a right to live their own reality. And if that is hating a person who's trying to do something positive because it makes you feel better or it makes you feel right, or you are like a victim of that whole self-service bias or whatever you subscribe to, it's fine. I want to eat, and I want other Black people who under normal circumstances, under my circumstances, would have maybe never got a chance to work in television or to publish a book to be able to live that dream. That's all I care about. I don't care about, like, people get on and people be like, what do you think about Baltimore politicians? What do you think about this person, that person? Man, I don't know them people. I don't think about them people. The people who I work are directly, the half of them never voted before. And I'm not even trying to judge them or say nothing negative. I'm saying, like, what is happening on a political level is important, but eating is also important. But living a meaningful life and being able to take care of your family is also important. So a lot of them issues that like live on the internet, they kind of don't make it into the communities. So it's just like, I just want people to eat. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And I think that's one of the big challenges that we're currently seeing right now. Let's talk a little bit about this latest project that you're doing with HBO. The project is called We Own This City. It was a book written by Justin Fenton, who is a Baltimore Sun reporter. The book that he wrote was We Own This City, a true story of crime, cops, and corruption. This is, I would say, it's like a series that is going to speak to, I don't know, is it fair to say it picks up where Homicide and The Wire left off? I mean, what is this?
It's way different than Homicide and The Wire, because the Homicide is I've never seen Homicide like that. I read the book and it wasn't, I read the book, but I haven't seen the show. The Wire is based on It's based on true situations and true stories, and there's even the names of a lot of those people are actual people. Like recipes of Fat Tater, Dante Barksdale, recipes of Bodie Barksdale, you know, the big homie. So like they, you know, it's real people caught up in them situations. But this show is probably the closest thing to nonfiction that you are ever going to see on television. When I wrote my episode, I had like 1,000 court docs. Like and when you talk about research, like the stuff that people don't see when we do these projects, it's like, so like there's dialect in there from people who are actually depicted in the story, and it didn't come from I didn't dream it up. Like I don't know if I can say this on radio. I'm gonna say this. I got on their call list and I talked to them on the phone, and they walked me through everything. What federal president right now? Like that's how deep I went into the episode that I wrote and what I tried to contribute to the room.
So this is, like you said, this is the closest that you're gonna get to nonfiction ever on television.
There's no police officer shooting jump shots with kids in a park. There's a police officer smacking a beer bottle out of dude's hand just because he get to do it. There's police officers stealing. There's police officers completely utilizing that power to terrorize. It's, you know, when you look at it, you're gonna be like, yo, like it's straight off the court documents onto the screen.
So why is it important, D, for us to have for us to see these stories played out on a national platform? You know, people often talk about, especially here in the city of Baltimore, brother, people always say, you know, the imagery, you know what I'm saying? We got to have strong media representation. So why is there, do you think there's still this high interest to see some of the worst side, the worst part of ourselves, whether you're talking about from policing to politics? Why do you think that's the case, bro?
At the end of the day, it's the truth. Like it is the truth. And I think people deserve the truth. I think a lot of times, if it's not your truth, then it might bother you. If it's not your truth, then you might be sick of seeing it. But for the people who, and I just want to throw this in here real quick. It's me and a woman, I will hope you guys get to have her on, named Thea Washington. She worked in casting, but between me and her, we collectively got over 3,000 people from Baltimore jobs on the camera and behind the camera. And a lot of those people were victims of this stuff. So like so not only do they want to work in art, they want to express themselves. They want to talk about the experiences they had with policing. And I think, you know, I totally understand people who don't want to see it, but I think that the collective of people who don't want to see it shouldn't trump the people who want to work on it, who want to see it, and who cares about it.
Jules, when you talking about, I'm sorry, go ahead, Lise.
So, I mean, I have a question. I mean, for those of you that may not know, this is about the Baltimore Trace Task Force, those 8 officers that were convicted. And in Variety, they actually spoke with, I believe it was Justin Fenton, and they said that, you know, he said it was a wake-up call about how serious the problems are and how serious the solutions must be. Is that when you're building something like this, are you trying to get to a place of positivity and change and not just showing that police are bad?
You know, it's funny because it's a wake-up call for him. It wasn't a wake-up call for me. And that's like, I think that when we talk about these shows, right? When we talk about these shows, and I'm going to answer the question. When we talk about these shows, like a lot of people, like local critics minimize the show to David Simon show, or they minimize the show to Justin Fenton, you know, thing. You know, Justin Fenton didn't write any of the episodes. The episodes were written by David Simon, George Pelicanos, Bill Zorzi, and myself. So like that's the first thing. The second thing is it's you know, some people call it my show. It's not my show. This thing took thousands of people to create. Thousands of people. There's like a Black woman named Debbie from Lafayette Housing Projects who got nominated for an Emmy. She started on the corner and worked on a wire, but she got nominated, I think, for even Watchmen or Lovecraft. There's like, anyway, beyond that, I don't think television has the power to solve these issues. However, as artists, I don't think we're exempt from telling true stories, if that makes any sense. Like, I don't think you know, a person. And don't get me wrong, for some people, right? Because I'm working on this 20-year anniversary wire package for Salon, and I was interviewing Sonia, and me and Sonia worked on a Slow Hustle together that came out on HBO like in December. And I was asking Sonia about, you know, because she's real activist and she's not like pro cop and she's a thoughtful person. So I asked her, I was like, yo, like, what do you, you know, when you look at your experience on the wire, what do you think now? And she said, one day I was sitting in a restaurant, I think like, I can't remember the restaurant, but she was sitting out front having a sandwich, and the judge walked up on her, and he said, I don't want to bother you eating and all that. And this is before the pandemic when you can like still walk up on people. But he walked up on her, and he's like, I just want to tell you I'm a judge, and I watched The Wire, and I changed the way I sentence people. Like it changed the way I looked at the whole system I was a part of. So in rare situations like that, you definitely have a person in power that can make change, but you can also have a person like O'Malley who was in power who felt like he was depicted in the wrong way, even though they made him look positive. He was positive because they didn't talk about the thousands of black people that got arrested under his failed policies. But he didn't like it, so he made sure when he was governor that he canceled the tax credits, so it couldn't be television in Baltimore. He worked hard at killing that industry, an industry that hired thousands and thousands of people with good union jobs that pay. He tried to get rid of them because he didn't like how they looked at how they show him.
Yeah. Indeed, we got a few moments left, and we're certainly appreciative of your time. But when we're talking about culture, when we're talking about the next generation of black boys and black girls who are trying to find their way in a culture of violence and a culture of social media and all of these things, you know, how do they navigate through all of those all of these forces to become authentic, to become contributing members of society? How do they navigate through all of those things to add to the culture instead of letting the culture take away from them?
So what I do, and what I is like a kind of like the only mandatory thing for the people that I mentor, is we spend time in schools and not in schools around young people who have an interest in some of the things that we've done. We try our best to make it cool to be smart. We try our best to make it cool to be ambitious and to be able to, you know, to if you want to be a cameraman, then, you know, control the narrative. If you want to write, control the narrative, write your own script. We know what was given to you. We know what's in front of you, but we know what you have the power to do. And when you get there, try to do it for somebody else. Right. And that's kind of like the best thing that I can offer. And that's the main thing I make sure I say if I'm speaking in front of a bunch of people at some big college in Boston, or if I'm speaking to a youth jail in San Francisco. Like, I've done over 400 of these things, and I kind of always say the same thing, is be the person that you needed. Connect with that young person, connect with that older person, connect with that person who has an interest in your industry, but they don't have no big homie, no OG, nobody to pull them in. Because that's the main issue. The main issue, and it's not the only issue, but one of the main issues is that a lot of black people, poor black people, don't have any connections. You don't have somebody to be like, yo, you can come work here. Yo, my uncle got the tire shop. I can teach you how to change brakes. Yo, my aunt owned a plumbing shop. I can teach you how to do plumbing, whatever. Like, we don't have that. So we have to be those people. We have to have them connections. That's the only way we're going to pull ourselves up out of a lot of the pain that we experience. Not saying capitalism is the answer, but you have to eat. When people don't eat, they do wild stuff. You have to eat.
I know that's the truth. That is the truth. That is nothing but the truth.
You have to eat. Like, I'm hungry right now. I'm sorry I look like this. I'm nothing like a day and a half. But
well, look. I want you to get home. I want you to get something to eat, get some rest, brother. But more importantly, we thank you for your time with us today. We just wanted to connect with you, Brother D, and more importantly, talk to you about share with folks some of the latest work that you're doing. You got your book, Black Boy Smile, is out for that people can pre-order right now on your website at dwatkins.com. And We Own This City is going to be airing on HBO starting on April the 25th. And so congratulations on all the success that you're doing right now, D. I mean, you putting Baltimore on the map, and you're bringing a lot of folks with you. And we couldn't be much more prouder of the work that you're doing, brother. So thank you so much for being so good for the culture, D.
Thank you, guys. Anything I can ever do, please let me know. I'm a phone call. I'm going to pull up away. Just let me know.
There it is right there. Mr. D. Watkins checking in. All right. Appreciate you, D. Thank you, brother. Man, oh, man. Jules, what you think of that?
I think it's dope. I think that's dope. And I can't wait to see the We on the City series. It's a secret tidbit. You know, I got a couple of my brothers from 300 that were in there. So, you know, we got the call when the casting got started. So a lot of them went to call, made it down there. So I can't wait to actually see it on HBO Max now.
Yeah, me neither. I can't wait to see it. And to your point, Lisa, I think you brought up an excellent question. And I think that, like, right now we're in this space where we have to try to use every single tool that we have in the toolbox to get people to see themselves and see this world around them differently.
Yeah, and I'm looking forward to seeing it as well, how they, you know, were able to put this into screen and into motion. We've seen film, like he said, change things. So let's see what happens.
Absolutely. Lise, thank you so much. I know you normally are with us on Tuesdays, but today we were able to kind of work some things around. So we won't see you tomorrow, but I appreciate you joining the conversation with us on the show today. So again, folks, Millennials Anonymous podcast. Make sure y'all check it out with host Lise Winnie. There we go. Go ahead, well, hold it up. Let everybody see what you're doing.
Yeah, I attended Millennials Anonymous. There you go. Millennials Anonymous.
There it is. There it is. My man Jules P., welcome to the Culture Crew, sir.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. So you'll see more of Jules on Mondays here on The Culture to give us his insight. And we look forward to hearing more from you, brother. So welcome to the crew. Welcome to the show. And I look forward to seeing some big things from you, Jules.
I appreciate it, boss.
All right, folks. That's going to do it for us. Stay tuned. Up next at the 6 o'clock Eastern Standard Time hour is, of course, Big Brother Roland Martin with Roland Martin Unfiltered. But more importantly, we want you to continue to support us here at Black Star Network. You can do so at blackstarnetwork.com. We are Black-owned media, unapologetic, unfiltered, nothing you have ever seen before, and we need your support. So make sure you support the Black Star Network at blackstarnetwork.com. And those are all the ways that you can give. But if you can't give $1, or if you even can't give 10 cents, don't let your heart be weary. All we ask that you do is that you share all of the programs, that you let your family know that they can download Black Star Network for free on their phone, on their tablet, on their television sets, that you can just put out the word. Help us be an ambassador of Black-owned media, because we want to be an advocate and a voice for you. So that's how that relationship works, and we need your support. So if you don't have the money, then let people know, as many people know, to download the app, and that is worth much more than giving us a couple of dollars here and there. But we appreciate all support coming to us from you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. All right, folks, as always, I appreciate my very special guests and my culture crew. I thank Brother D. Watkins. I thank my culture crew. Later on this week, we're going to be talking to Nikichi Taifa, who's going to talk to us about everything from Judge Ketanji Brown Jackson to what's going on with the reparations movement. We got a lot to talk about with them. I'm also bringing some dynamic young Black entrepreneurs by the name of Sister Sweets onto the show. They provided some desserts for the ceremony at the White House for Justice Ketanji Brown Jackson. So we'll talk about that with them and having that experience at the White House. So we got a lot of great guests that's going to be coming on this week. So you don't want to miss one day of the culture here on the Black Star Network. As always, never be afraid to challenge what's wrong, stand for what's right while being yourself in the process. God willing, we'll talk tomorrow for another exciting edition of the culture right here on the Black Star Network. And as always, folks, enjoy the rest of your evening, and we will talk tomorrow here on Black Star Network. Thank you so much for tuning in. Peace.